Hello everyone, in this video we will speak about worst ways to die. And the video is made from people's stories and messages that was posted on internet. Death is a heavy visitor that come in any time, and the way you die make difference. The last days or minutes might be painful or not. So their first bad way is buried alive. Let's say you get knocked out, then you wake up in a coffin 6 feet under, still alive, no food, no water, dark, cramped, limited air. Nothing to end it quicker besides abusing the air, nothing to save you, no one to save you, and your only way out is near impossible. Then the coffin breaks, your mouth starts filling up dirt. Someone says, once I went caving. For those who don't know, it is when you explore caves, and I was crouching down because the ceiling was only like 2 or 3 feet high. Then we came to this little hole in the ground, and I was laying on my stomach to get a close-up look at it, and I lost my grip and slid headfirst into this tiny little hole. I couldn't move my arms, and couldn't see anything. After about 10 or 15 minutes people pulled me out. And our second death way is burned alive. Here are some people in history that have been burned to death, and in extremely painful ways. There's Edward II of England. While he didn't burn to death from the outside, he had a red-hot poker inserted up his anus and was murdered in 1327 AD. Though this death may or not have been a myth, the many victims of the Spanish Inquisition, where heretics were burned in public, the brazen bull torture, where victims were placed inside a metal bowl and were roasted alive, and the victims of various 17th and 18th century witch trials in Europe and the United States. Someone says, definitely the worst. Once I accidentally caught my finger on fire. Most painful thing ever. If you think it isn't, then imagine someone pouring hot acid over you. No joke. And you slowly die. I would really hope that the smoke knocks me out for the time being. Someone says, if just burning yourself on a pot or curling iron feels like hell, I can't imagine how excruciatingly painful it must be to have your whole body burning. I agree with most who say in this scenario, you pray you to die of smoke inhalation before you burn to death. Torture is for the mind, not the body. It was designed so that your brain would never know when it would end, when the pain would stop. You are losing fingers day by day in a dark, cold, empty chamber. You get to the point where you hope you bleed out and die, but no, the wounds scar over and heal before you do. Then the infection sets in, being kidnapped to an unknown room where no one can save you or either hear you to reach you out. Even the sunlight doesn't passes through that room. In the room alone with the sinner, tied in a chain or chair in an uncomfortable way. Being kidnapped to an unknown room where no one can save you or either hear you to reach you out. Even the sunlight doesn't passes through that room. In the room alone with the sinner, tied in a chain or chair in an uncomfortable way. The thrist comes and swallows up the saliva in your mouth. After confirming the identity, you'd quickly observe the surrounding that is full of tools with rust and dirt. Checking as if you knew what you really thought that it was that situation, torture. Death by 1,000 cuts, stacking rocks on you slowly until your body caves in. There are so many horrible ways that people could do this. They could torture you until you want to die, and still torture you for a long time before you die. There is nothing worse than this because they can make it last for as long as they want, and make it as painful as they want. Drowning, one of my biggest fears, because it's not like you can do anything about it. Panicking only makes it worse. So all you can do is sit there and feel the intense burn in your lungs and throat while choking on the water that is steadily flowing into your throat. Worst part is that it takes about 1 to 3 minutes until you die. Sit there and wait for it all to end until you black out, and if people don't notice that it's happening, it's even worse, knowing you'd have died with no one even realizing it happened. Trapped under ice. Being trapped under ice is like being buried alive while drowning. Ice actually is pretty soundproof, and thick ice is hard to break. Plus, you would be able to see people, and the world, knowing that they won't be able to save you. It also is much more possible than actually being buried alive. This is a mixture of drowning and being buried alive. I think it's the worst ways you could go. You feel your lungs fill up with water and you are pounding on the ice to break free. But trapped, forever, life and death. Starving, you get hungry if you didn't eat for hours, but what about days? Many people see each other die every day and they can't do anything to them. All of you die in silent, and not from food lack but water till you get your skin too close on your bones like they're nothing between them. And there is people, and their people do this with their will. Imagine starving yourself to the point where you might have an eating disorder, craving to be beautiful. Someone says, my grandmother had stomach cancer. 2 years of slowly starving to death because she couldn't digest things. She looked like a Holocaust victim at the end of her life. Long painful illness, a slow long illness that you have had for years, and then you die. You would rather die instantly. Everyone is trying to help you survive, but all they're doing is prolonging your pain. Disease like AIDS or cancer. CJ disease, asthma, the common cold, AIDS, HIV, most realistic and likely and worst. Someone says, my mum suffers from a long painful illness, she's been to hospital 12 times, it's horrible to watch let alone go through one. Kidnapped and murdered. Some children have sadly been taken away and sadly lost their lives too. A little boy named Charles Lindbergh Jr. was taken and then killed by a man named Bruno Hauptmann. Another girl, Tristan Bailey, only 13 years old, was taken by her own classmate, Aiden Fucci, who hurt her very badly. It's hard to hear about. And if you try to escape they will found you. And you get killed and nowhere your body wait to be found. As a died body and your family come to see if it's you or not. Lost in space might sound not possible, but think again, there is many people sent to space these days and it's not safe place. Venus has a thick, toxic atmosphere filled with carbon dioxide and that trap heat. It's the hottest planet in our solar system and sulfuric acid rain showers on Venus never reach the surface of the planet. And if you was in spaceship that could go so far from our solar system. Get into a black hole, even if you served hundreds of years would be past, and the black hole gravity will attract you from a very long distance. Even light get trapped inside and you will not die fast, but you might see a scene no one ever saw before. Or in some theories you will go to another universe and get out of white hole. Thanks for watching.